And hello, everyone, and welcome back to RacerTV.com as we are live across the World Wide Web once again through live stream. Rodney Tomlin here with you as we get set to roll into our next round of UTV, the side-by-side racing here from the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com Mountaineer Run GNCC. Chuck LeMaster and Jesse Strawham will be joining us here in just a few moments as we'll be giving you the play-by-play and the call from the racetrack itself. But right now we are setting the stage for the big start of today's race. And of course, we got another fine host of riders here with us, several rows of racers getting ready to take to the field here. And of course, row number one, housing your premier riders, at least the riders in the points lead of their class as they roll into this next round. I believe we've got, this will be round 5 if I'm, or maybe actually round 4 if I'm not mistaken. And as we take a look at our starting lineup on the row number 1, we have the number 1 car of Cody Miller in that Yamaha machine. The number 6 car is that of Hunter Miller, his big brother. The 412 former and multi-time UTV national champion William Yoakley, and the 808 of Sean Bogdan, all on row number 1 from the XC1 Pro UTV class. Row 2 will be Michael Swift. He's riding the number 19 car, the number 54 of Walker Fowler, the number 115 John Kletz, and the 222 of Cole Sequoia, who took, I believe, the opening round win, if I'm not mistaken. We turn our attention up to Ricky Towery, and he has signaled these drivers that we are now less than 30 seconds away. Actually, we are a matter of only 10 seconds from road number 1 here in our side-by-side racing. Road number 1 at the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com Mountaineer Run GNCC. And they're off, folks. Step back. We got cars coming in hard, hot, and fast right now. And we got the 412 car taking the early lead in this one. William Yoakley, the former national champion, grabbing the lead out of turn 2. Road 2, Michael Swift, Walker Fowler, John Kletz, Cole Sequoia. And the green flag waves on this one as they roll into that first turn. The 115, John Kletz, a good start, but man, he gets a little sideways, losing a little time into turn 2. He's going to grab that lead. Oh, up on 2 wheels. The 222 car, Cole Sequoia trying to get in there as well. We got John Barnes in row 3, Mouse Pratt, Kevin Schrantham, Robert Boynton, Jamie McCoy, and Casey Boynton. And they're off. XC1. Cars are all off and rolling. This is our 3rd row of those, and this car out front is the number 12 car. That is Joshua Barnes, but I believe everyone got by him as he nearly turned that one over. Row 4, the start of the XC2 Pro Sport, Jonathan Powers, Darren Oakley, Spencer Moblett, Jason Watt, and Brian Riggs. And they're off. The 411 on this one is Jason Watt. Let's see if he's got it dialed in coming out of that first turn. He seems to do so, and in the turn 2. The JW Builders machine is out front. Jason Watt. Row 5, Lawrence Sampson. This is XC2 Pro Sport. Austin Seelig, Richie Nolan, Jared Hamp, and Seth Mitchell. And they're off. Whoa, are they ever? The 144 car, Austin Seelig, powering his way into that first turn, and now into turn 2 on the Nightcrawler rival Skyrockets machine. Up next, 6, XC2 Pro Sport, Jim Guggenauer, Gary Conklin, Chris Wolf, and Sean Hayes. That's row 6 off and rolling. The 69 car. See if we can get their race number here. That is the 069. Chris Wolf. Row 7, Colin Truitt, Britt Vanderford, Matt Zeeler, Donald Harrison, and Josh Davis. XC3 Pro-Am. And your first row of Pro-Am are off and rolling. Around that first turn, looks like our friends in the 117 car of Colin Truitt leading the XC3 Pro-Am Row 1 right out of the get-go. Matthew Cassie, Brenton Wingfeld, Scotty Petrie, and Jeremy Wallace, Row 8. XC3 Pro-Am off and rolling this next row. We got two more, I believe one more row. This row will see the 01 car of Cassie, the 101 car rather. And row 9, Eric Pomaki and Luke Shepard, XC3 Pro-Am. Looks like Luke Shepard going to grab the early lead in this one as we go to row 10, the Lights UTV. Tanner Bowles, Michael Whittican, Trevor Payne. Ricky signaling these riders were less than 10 to go now as we wave that green flag. I'm going as quick as I can there, Speedy. .621 machine. Grabbing the early lead in that one was Trevor Payne, bringing the pain. Row 11, the amateur modified, Bill Ross, Dalton Smith, Addie Neibel, Wesley Lance, and Timothy Slur. .45 car, Bill Ross. Oh, man. Up next, row 12, amateur modified, Will Bowen, Hunter Thompson, and Bernard Benamati. The 612 car, Bernard Benamati is going to get the whole shot in this one. It looks like the early lead anyway. Row 13, amateur limited, will be Matthew Ashton. And then we have our women UTV Masters 45 plus to follow that as well. So the 630 car, Matthew Ashton, off and rolling in the amateur limited class here today. Now we turn our attention back down to the start line where we have our next row of riders. It's the women, Veronica Weitzel and Vicki Fowler. Well, Veronica Weitzel used to be known as VMAR. Now that she's married to Nolan Weitzel, maybe we can call her a little bit more creative with that, with VWE. Anyway, I'm not real great at giving nicknames, I don't think. Chris Brockway, the Masters 45 plus class, Mike Penland, and Ben McCourt ready to roll next. The grandfather of 4x4 utility ATV racing, which eventually led into this. So you can kind of say that Mike Penland might have given birth to side-by-side racing so many years ago without even realizing it. And, well, anyway, set the standard for it to come, that's for sure, no doubt. In our final row, Masters 45 plus class, Kurt Zeeler, Polly Erickson, and Bill Bowen all waiting on a green flag to wave here. As it is up, drivers are off, and our final row of competitors are off and rolling into the wild, wonderful rocks of Marvin's Mountaintop here in wild, wonderful West Virginia. The 102, Kurt Zeeler grabbing the early lead in this one. And friends, that's going to wrap up our start. Of course, we're going to head up to the finish line region, and we're going to get you some play-by-play on what's taking place. And With that, it'll be Chuck LeMaster and myself be up there here shortly, so stand by as GNCC Live continues.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of dirt bike lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
If you believe life starts where the blacktop ends, if the power of an engine makes your heart race, don't settle for anything less than Polaris RZR, the ultimate off-road vehicle. With unequaled power, unrivaled suspension, and unmatched agility, all perfectly combined to help you chase down what matters most. Polaris RZR, we fuel your freedom. And now's the time to get up to $2,000 cash back during the Polaris Spring Sales Event.
And welcome back to the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer Run GNCC here atop Marvin's Mountaintop in wild and wonderful West Virginia. If you're joining us just now, we are just beginning our UTV race, and on screen we see a lot of dust right now. And for those of us here at the track, we can attest that the sun is really today and dried the ground out, and we saw earlier that with the ATVs that they were really battling a lot of dust, and right now we're trying to catch glimpses of what machine that might be that we're looking at, and it's a blue Yamaha, so we're going to assume that's probably Cody Miller that we were catching on screen there. We know that William Yoakley led this race early on with the whole shot, and right now we've got great camera positioning, as you can see high atop this mountain here, and we can see down into the pits. But wow, these big utility machines, 1,200, 1,400 pounds apiece, they can really kick up the dust. And talking with drivers, they knew that was going to be an issue today, and everybody was doing their best to be able to try and figure out what to do with the dust. And the best game plan is get out front early and get ahead of it all. We're getting a great shot right now looking into the woods here as the machines are starting to come through. But let me bring you up to speed real quick on where we are, because we were in a long off season. We took a summer break, and we were halfway through the UTV racing series at that point. We've got 3 races left to go, so these last 3 rounds of GNCC racing will all include UTV racing. And right now, going into the summer break and leading our points right now is Hunter Miller. He is the brother of Cody Miller. Cody Miller is our reigning champion. And there's only about 5 points that are separating these two brothers. So there was absolutely no trash talking over the summer, I was told. Of course, that was tongue-in-cheek. I'm sure these guys have been really anxious to get with each other on the track and see who's really going to be king and who can clinch that championship. We're missing the number 3 points in points, Kyle Cheney. Kyle Cheney went and raced a Torque Series up in Michigan, I believe, and is not with us this weekend. He's right now he's in 3rd place in points. Of course, Kyle has 2 championships himself on this UTV series. William Yoakley, our early leader in this, is sitting in 4th place with points right now, and in 5th place in points is Sean Bogdan. That was our front row, and that's where the points are coming into here. So there's a lot on the line right here. Halfway through the season, anything can happen, but we know that consistency pays off. And the Hunter and Cody Miller brothers have certainly been consistent all season long with top 5 finishes for both of them. Very consistent and smooth driving, and that is what is going to pay off in the long run for sure. Taking a look at our screen here, we're still trying to sort things through, but as we come through on the first lap complete. The first lap is now complete. The drivers have checked in. William Yoakley did maintain his whole shot. William Yoakley is in the lead, followed by, on time adjustment, followed by Walker Fowler. Walker Fowler also driving that Yamaha YXZ, and went out to a race at the Heartland Challenge earlier this summer and overall that one, and has been putting in a lot of driving time over the summer, as I've heard. And so it's William Oakley, Walker Fowler, Hunter Miller is our top 3 drivers to check in on lap 1. Kevin Trantham is checked in, and Kevin started on row 2 or 3. Actually, I think he started on row 3 on time adjustment. He's up in the 4th place position. Cody Miller is in the 5th place position based on time adjustments. And just a quick reminder for those of you that might not be accustomed to time adjustments, because these classes are on different rows, we're racing against the clock here. They're racing each other on the course, but each of these rows are started about 20 seconds apart from each other. So the clock has to adjust to make up for that. So once again, we've got William Yoakley, Walker Fowler, Hunter Miller, Kevin Trantham, Cody Miller. That's our top 5. And to round it out for our top 10, Jason Watt is also in the running there in the 6th place position. Colin Truitt is in 7th. Michael Swift, a familiar name to the GNCC Racing Nation, is in 8th. John Barnes in 9th, and Lawrence Simpson in 10th. We'll keep an eye on this as this race develops and things unfold. We'll bring you the play-by-play and let you know who's doing what on the track. Of course, that first lap is always a short one. It's always when they're bunched up and trying to sort things out, so we're certain that we're going to see some changes in this top 10 as the race unfolds. But right now, it looks like a battle could be shaping up between William Yoakley, Walker Fowler, Hunter Miller, Kevin Trantham, and Cody Miller. As all 5 of these guys are no stranger to the speeds that need to be held in order to win this race. All 5 of these guys have been on the center of the box in between UTV racing and ATV racing. They all 5, ironically, have ATV racing experience and UTV racing experience. Kevin Trantham with the utility ATVs, and the Miller brothers with both sport and utility ATVs, and then of course William Yoakley and Walker Fowler with sport ATVs in the pro classes. So this should certainly be one of the races that we've all been looking forward to all year. We've got a handful of guys, all 5, any of them could bring it out. Right there on screen, we're seeing the number 412. That is William Yoakley, accompanied by his wife, Tina Yoakley. It looks like a desert race. If you were just watching this on TV, you would swear that you're looking at Baja with all that dust and the way that the dust is kicked all over the trees and making them turn brown. You would think that this was the Baja, but being here live, you know that this is wild and wonderful West Virginia. It's a beautiful setting for a race. Of course, with that sun shining and beating things and drying things out, we have a lot of dust, more dust than probably we've seen all year long in one of these races. So smart driving is going to be key. Another key factor for this race is that here on Marvin's Mountaintop, there are a lot of rocks, and you can see it in our picture right there. You can see that there are a lot of rocks scattering across the ground. As these guys get out into the woods, there are some rock gardens that they need to navigate. Rocks are terrible for these heavy machines. They tend to cut tires, so certainly every single one of these guys are running something like Defenders or tire balls and trying to fight against the flat tire syndrome. Looks like we just had Cody Miller come by on screen there. We're trying to keep an eye on this and sort through all this dust and keep you up to date with the play-by-play, but we'll know more as they start to come closer to the finish line and hit their transponders, and we'll bring you up to date on that. But as I was saying, these rocks can cut tires. Also, these guys were warned in the riders' meeting to stay on the trail, that when they come out to these wide open field sections, that they need to stay with the marked trail and not go off and wandering out into the weeds, because out in the weeds there are some very large rocks and some stumps that can get one of these things, rip off a front end, blow a tire. So these guys really need to drive smart. And when it comes to all this dust, that sometimes it's easier said than done when it comes to driving smart. But right now on our screen, it looks like the breeze has picked up a little bit. That's certainly welcome for these guys, as the breeze is able to blow some of that dust away, and they've got a clear field of vision as they start approaching this next corner. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot from our, we'll call that the sky camera that's set up on top of the mountain Trying to read some number plates for you guys here. That's the 132 machine, I believe. Or 137. Anyway, great shot with our camera crew here. The RacerTV crew out there in the woods and on top of the mountain doing a great job bringing us the action to our screens. And walking in the studio now is none other than Rodney Tomlin himself, ladies and gentlemen. It's always good to have him in the booth and bring...
I'm just glad it's me walking in here myself, because I was thinking there for a second, who is it? Oh, back at it again, Chuck.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, what an amazing start. I was down on the start wrapping things up, getting some stuff put away before we headed up this way, and I seen the front runners checking through by the start line there a few moments ago. Wow, Walker Fowler, how about that, huh?
Yeah. You might have missed. Well, I'm sure you caught it online that he went out to the Heartland Challenge and won the overall with his mechanic Mark Notman riding shotgun with him. And Mark's not in that car with him today. I think Walker's got one of his buddies in there, but nonetheless, he's figured out how to drive.
Yeah, and the story to that, his buddy was in a Jeep accident about 2 days ago, a really rough and tough one. And his buddy, he says, well, my buddy's already conditioned for it. He's got an hour of crashing that he's about ready to do. So Walker, so far so good. It may feel like they're crashing in that ride, but at the speed I saw Walker at, I think he's got a pretty smooth ride going right now, to be honest with you, because we know speed equals smoothness in UTV racing.
Absolutely. It get up on top of that rush stuff, same as it does in ATV racing. And I know that Walker didn't get the whole shot when off the start there, but the way that he was driving, it looked like he was being very, very aggressive and knew what he was up against. We're getting a shot right now of scoring as these guys are starting to check through. Looks like what we're seeing there is the tail end of the pack, so that's still our amateur classes checking through on their number 1 lap, but we shouldn't be too far out. Shouldn't be too far out from seeing our front runners coming around. We need to get that first lap is always different, so we don't have a good feel for how long this lap time is going to be, but lap should clue us in a little bit better.
Yeah, I tell you, I just can't get used to William Yoakley running the number 412 car out there for some reason. It just doesn't seem right. He's a multi-time champion in this UTV racing, and of course, set out a year or so and then came back. And, man, good to see him out front here today. He's been definitely a contender and competitor. We see Walker Fowler second. Hunter Miller's third. Kevin Trantham, who was helping us a little there for the ATV race there this afternoon on RacerTV, is in fourth. Cody Miller, your defending champion, is all the way back in the number 5 spot. When we start doing adjustments here, it's like, or not even adjustments, when you look at lap times on that first lap, that pretty much tells the tape. He is 31 seconds behind your leader out there, William Yoakley. So a little bit of time to make up out there, it looks like.
Yeah, and especially if he didn't get the start that he wanted, he got stuck back in there, some of that dust.
There's Yoakley right there.
Definitely going to slow you down. Looks like William's still holding. Man, that has got to feel good for him. You know, he took the year off last year, didn't even race any of these, but that's a familiar sight for us to see that Yoakley machine leading the pack.
Yeah, it most certainly is. It's great to see Yoakley back out here again, because it almost seems like it's not really been a championship without him being at least involved in it in some way. I mean, it has, obviously,
sure.
But I mean, that's how much clout that guy carries, believe it or not. I mean, when William Yoakley shows up, you know the stars are out.
You know, I was talking to him down there on the starting line and asked him, hey, have you been doing a lot of driving and testing? And we got to talking about the good old days, back when UTV racing was just starting out, and all the hours that were spent on product development and repair and maintenance and just cleaning the machine. He said, man, I don't have time anymore to be doing that kind of thing. So I was able to, he said that he was able to park it in the garage and do some things that he needed. I'm hearing RacerTV crew telling me that Walker Fowler is making a pass. I'm not sure who he's passing there. We know that on time adjustment he was running in the number 2 position. So he might be passing his way physically into that number 2 position. We know on time adjustment he was the number 2. But if he's out there making passes right now, then that tells you that Walker Fowler is hungry. And Walker Fowler, when he gets hungry, that guy knows how to go fast. And now having a little technical difficulties in the booth. I think we got the man Rodney Tomlin on it. Get us back up and going. But in the meantime, with Walker Fowler making passes, William Yoakley better be watching his back there, and certainly he's got his wife Tina in the car and keeping an eye on those rearview mirrors. But right now, I think that what William Yoakley is seeing in his rearview mirror is dust, because the last shot that we had of him on our RacerTV screen was that he was out there by himself. But Walker's making passes. We know that Hunter Miller, he's hungry. He was in the 3rd place position. We've got Cody Miller back in the 5th place position with Kevin Trantham in between. And Kevin, of course, no stranger to racing. He's been a utility ATV racer for a long time, for many number of years, and won championships and many races. And sure would be nice to see Kevin be able to do something with do something with his UTVs. Looks like, Rodney, we've got 2 laps complete now for our top 3.
It sure looks like it there, Chuck, as William Yoakley, now Cody Miller up to the number 2 spot. Hunter Miller is 3rd. We'll see what happens with time adjustments when Walker Fowler checks in. Right now they have dropped him to a 4th place position, but he is only in with 1 lap so far.
Well, now, Cody Miller, he was in 5th place position. And of course, yeah, we've got some time adjustments to come in, but he was all the way back in the 5th place position, like 30-some seconds behind. And right now he's in the number 2 position. Well, no, because Walker Fowler just checked in. Walker Fowler just checked in the number 2 position, only 9.8 seconds behind William Yoakley.
Yeah, you look at the elapsed time right there. It's actually a little bit more than that on the elapsed time. We're actually 23 seconds. I believe that's 9.8 seconds behind the person ahead of him in that class.
Yep.
But right here, if we look at the elapsed time, 22 minutes and 10.5 seconds, 10.5 seconds there. Walker Fowler had a 22:33.750, so basically 23.25 seconds is the difference that separates those two drivers, those 2 teams right now for the 1st place overall position. Cody Miller has dropped to 3rd overall after those time adjustments now.
Well, you know, with William Yoakley, the lap time was 12 minutes and 14 seconds. Walker Fowler's lap time was 12 minutes and 12 seconds. And, you know, it looks like Walker Fowler, even though he's not in the lead, he doesn't have clear air. He's still fighting a lot of dust, and he's making passes and making time.
Now, if Walker
and
gets
welcome
the
to
overall,
Jesse. Jesse just made it into the booth, everybody.
She's surprised you didn't.
Yeah.
Stealthy.
if Walker gets the overall, will that count towards his overalls for this year? Okay.
No. Well, I mean,
or for his all-time career.
As a sidebar, no, it will not. It'll be, well, in his all-time career, yes, but in his all-time ATV racing wins, it won't count towards that. It'll be a new thing going on there.
I suppose it would be. It'd be kind of like Barry Hawk winning
exactly.
some ATV races and then going and winning some motorcycle races. And then when you look at his overall, which is impressive to win in multiple disciplines.
That's 69 overall wins. I think 45 of those were in ATV or something like that, or 39 maybe. But however many it was, I mean, a lot of those. Walker Fowler's trying to smash that record too. But I guess technically, Jesse, you asked that question. Technically, we could say yes, but it won't count towards his ATV wins.
Right, that's what he's mostly focused on.
Right. But that will be neat, and you do bring up a good question there. You know, once Walker does start doing that, man, I mean, and if he starts winning in the side-by-side and on the ATVs, man, he's going to rack up a lot of wins over a short amount of time. And his all-time wins records in GNCC will skyrocket, man, whenever you look at it that way.
And you've also got to look at his endurance as well. You know, the amount of work that he's putting in off the track has to be incredible. To be able to go out on a hot, dusty day like this with these conditions and win the overall in the ATV and then come out and be in the top 3 in the UTV. I mean, it's really incredible.
It is. And not only through conditioning, but just talent-wise. I mean, that's saying a lot about talent, but a lot of these guys that race the side-by-sides come from the ATV racing itself, so maybe that's not as surprising as one might think, but still at the same time, when you're training for one discipline and then you go race another and you do so well at it, I think that's pretty impressive. And you bring up a very important factor in that, the conditioning of it, because a lot of heat out there today, a lot of physical activity on those guys. They're in those fire suits now, so the heat is just intensified on him. And to think that it's not tiring to try and drive one of these cars under these conditions, you're a fool, because it'll wear you out. So yeah, questioning is, that'll be a good question toward the end of this race. You know, if Walker's conditioning level is going to be high enough to keep him up there in possible podium position. You know, right now he's 23.25 seconds out of the lead position. He is running only a 2-second faster lap time than what we saw our leader there, William Yoakley, that last time around. But I have a feeling that this is going to get interesting. And when these guys start to get in some lap traffic, Jesse, you know as well as anyone, that's when things start to get really kind of freaky out there, because if they're in a tight place, man, things can tighten up pretty quick. And then all of a sudden, folks are taking
risky moves.
Big risks.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to really take risks, especially in the woods, because that's the only place that you're going to pass safely. Because with the dusty conditions, you get into a field section, you lose sight of that person in front of you.
Well, there is our picture back. That is good. We are now 28, almost 29 minutes into this race. Just, you want something done, just talk to the pastor. He'll make sure it happens, right?
I'm not even sure what I did there, but the TV's back on. At least we can see, man, I think that was Cody Miller sliding into the dust sideways there. That was kind of a cool shot.
You know, he raced this morning as well and took the overall in the morning, correct, on the ATV?
He got beat by Jay Shadron.
Oh, well.
Yeah, they were battling.
They were battling back and forth the entire race. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, there's been some really good racing here today in these conditions. You know, the turnout hasn't been the most phenomenal, but the racing has been just off the scale, honestly.
Well, that's what we said at the beginning of this race with the top 5 guys that are in this thing. Let's see, you got William Yoakley, Walker Fowler, Cody Miller, Hunter Miller, and Kevin Trantham. All 5 of those guys have won races in ATVs. All 5 of those guys know how to drive UTVs.
And 3 of the 5 raced today.
Have already raced today, yeah.
That says a lot. Who are we looking at?
Actually, I think
race
4 of them.
Kevin Trantham, he's in the pro utility. You got Walker and Cody Miller.
And Cody raced this morning also.
Yeah, that's 4.
So, well, William Yoakley didn't, and neither did Hunter. I don't think Hunter raced it.
No. Oh, Hunter didn't race this morning? Well, then 4 out of the top 6 then, because Michael Swift did.
Oh, there you go. And Michael Swift is in 6th.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, that's the GNCC Racing Nation for you there. You know, just can't seem to get enough of it. So let's
not at all.
Let's bring it on. Now, speaking of other people that have raced already today, Jesse, you were out there this morning, weren't you?
Yeah. It was really rocky. You know, that brings back the whole Blackwater field to GNCC racing. You get the rocky conditions. If only we had a little bit of rain.
That would definitely make things a little more interesting, huh?
I think these guys could handle a little bit of rain.
Yeah, I think they could.
Looking at the dust out there. That can be dangerous when you go charging into something and you don't know what you're going for.
Well, this morning, you know, we took off and there was still that little bit of fog, and some of those field sections got a little scary. You mix the dust and fog, it got pretty thick.
It gets really thick then. Yeah, no, the sun definitely burned that fog off. There's no danger of fog right now. I think it's about 90 degrees out here.
Well, if you notice, you're watching, you're mentioning the dust. Notice that we got a nice breeze blowing. So unless you're really like right up on, like this morning, it was kind of hanging, like you say, in the fog and stuff. But right now we got a nice breeze blowing. So unless you're like right in the plumes of dust, you should be able to afford a little bit of vision, I think, out here this afternoon. But if you're too close, then you might find yourself in a little different scenario and situation. But I think these guys were prepared for this. They've raced these things all summer long, all year long, in all types of conditions. So this is nothing out of the norm.
No. These like you said, these guys have been out there. They've been pounding it, and they know what they're getting into, and they're here to win.
Yeah,
every single one of them, everybody that you talk to down there, what's the plan today? Get in the middle of the box. That's the plan. You know, push that pedal to the stop and make something happen.
And this year, the field is so competitive. I mean, the competition is unreal. With Walker Fowler, and then you have Cody Miller and Hunter Miller, and then you add William Yoakley, the old school, back in there, Michael Swift, Kevin Trantham. And it's really cool to see the different talents that are out there on the track for the UTV racing.
Yeah, it is. The diversity in talents and disciplines of ATV racing that they actually race is pretty neat. You know, Cody, the Miller boys, both of them actually coming from motocross, so that's their background. And they made the switch over to what I think well, side-by-side racing, and then they were doing some 4x4 stuff out there as well. Seeing several motocross people starting to do that just for a little bit of fun here in the off season. Like you say, the diversity there is certainly there. The utility riders, pro sport quad riders, all.
And the age range.
Yeah. Another good point, Jesse. A very good point. You got William Yoakley, who is, I don't want to, but I know he's in his 40s someplace. You know, I don't know exactly where in his 40s. Walker, mid-20s. You got Cody Miller, probably somewhere in the upper 20s to around the 30 range. Same thing with Hunter Miller. Kevin Trantham, he's in his 30s.
Yeah, late 30s.
Yeah, pushing probably upwards toward 40 anyway.
Michael's in his 40s. And they're out there, you know, and it shows that age has nothing to do with it.
No, it shows that with age comes cage is what it shows.
No, well, you know, Walker's only 25, so it's just it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It is. Talk about your experience this morning, Jesse. Tell us what happened in the Polaris Ace race today.
You know, they widened the Aces this year, so they're actually as wide as an 800S.
Really?
And a lot of people don't take that into consideration. So, man, I have not had a good season. I've been banging off of everything, ripping stuff off, but we'll come back next race. The track is a blast, though. The guys, you know, every race, the track has been so much fun.
Looks like I think we got William Yoakley on screen there. It was kind of hazy and foggy there, but I saw the number 412 black coming through, and look at that, the number 1. Looks like Cody Miller is physically chasing William Yoakley, but he's pretty far back there.
Well, he was
in terms of racecraft, you know, he's not on the bumper. He's got a lot of dust.
Here's something to point out. 41 seconds is what separated he and William Yoakley at the end of the last lap. So it almost looks like maybe Cody has gained some time, whether or not William has had maybe ran in some lap traffic or whatever the case may be, slowed his pace down, or
I wonder what happened
if Cody
to Walker.
has picked it up. Well, Walker is running on time-adjusted position.
Okay.
These guys, he's physically like 6th or 7th place position on the racetrack right now. So
because he was because we start split rows.
Right.
That's something to take into consideration as well.
So Walker is actually faring very well from this because he doesn't have to blaze the trail, and he's not on that front row. So you know he can.
You know he's gonna blaze the trail though.
Oh, if he gets a chance, he's going to. You know that's a Walker Fowler style right there.
Oh, there he is on the screen.
Yep, number 54 with the red red background.
And I tell you, I don't understand. I have absolutely no problems with electronics and things like that till I come to the GNCC and everything starts
then nothing
to fail.
wants to work. Right.
Yeah, my iPad's not even picking up live timing and scoring right now for some reason. It's gone to 3G on me.
We're driving blind. Just like these guys.
There's Walker Fowler right now no, that wasn't Walker Fowler. I'm so used to Walker Fowler being number 1.
Right.
That's Cody Miller. I'm sorry. Cody Miller rounding the chicanes there, heading toward the finish line now here at the almost 36-minute mark.
And, you know, it might not be long until we see a number 1 on Walker Fowler's buggy.
Not this season, but
not
yeah,
this
you're
season,
right.
But it won't be. I'm saying it will be in the next couple of years, I'm sure.
I'd say that after today's racing, he's probably going to start putting that on his bucket list, to be honest with you. Are you having any better luck there, Chuck?
I just pulled it up on my iPhone here, so let's see here. Hey, we're doing the same thing that everybody at the track is doing. We've got 3 laps complete. William Yoakley is in the lead physically. Cody Miller is checked in. Hunter Miller is checked in. That's their running order right now.
What's going on? Fowler got a flat tire or something? He just pulled over and let somebody go by there. And
I
don't know if it was the monitor itself, but it almost looked like.
No, it looked like he pulled over to the right there for a second and then went back on.
Must have been feeling some pressure there. So what are we looking at as far as timing? He's dropped back, hasn't he?
He's only got 2 laps complete. This hasn't updated yet.
Okay.
I like this camera shot because it's the ground is a little moist. They've watered the track around the finish line area, so we're able to see how those cars are working with suspension, and it's always neat to see how they slide through and
Walker. I almost have to assume that was probably a flat tire. I'm not 100% sure there, but he has dropped all the way back to 6th place after 3 laps of racing.
Oh man, and he was so on it.
That's definitely frustrating whenever something like that happens. You know. For me today, I was in the 2nd place position when my wheel came off, so it's a little frustrating to have a day end that way.
Yeah, the whole wheel come off?
And it was bent out, and I couldn't go anywhere.
Wow, that stinks. So I'll tell you something.
Take her driver's license.
Yeah.
They need to.
She got lost getting here yesterday. I seen her last night. I was so lost.
I was. I was an hour. I ended up an hour away.
What?
The marvels of modern technology.
Yeah,
she
for
still
sure.
couldn't make
I had
it.
no service.
Oh, okay. We'll go. All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I got lost in the Hocking Hills of Ohio here not too long ago. I found myself out, but, you know, it took a little while.
For sure. Well, it looks
Hey,
like with our time adjustments
check
done.
this out. I want you to. We'll talk time adjustments in just a second. Let's talk actual lap times right now. 12:41. That's been consistent lap times by William Yoakley. He's been turning 12:39s, 12:41s last couple of laps. Last time around for your first place car, Cody Miller in the number 1, 12:07. He takes a 40-some second gap and now narrows it down to the 7.1 seconds that separates he and your leader physically on the racetrack. So Cody Miller, man on a mission right now.
I've seen that guy drive. I don't want him on my bumper.
No.
He's aggressive when not aggressive like he's going to crash it, but man, he makes lines. He just.
I asked him if
don't,
I could
don't
ride
think
with
that
him.
you can drive a wide car because
I said I want
he'll-
to go fast in a racer or in a side by side. I said, could I ride with you, Cody? He said, well, my passengers kind of got that on lock, so I don't think I can
Who's
open
his
up that
passenger?
seat. It's a friend of his that's been riding since last year.
So they're not
Yeah,
breaking up.
I don't think they're breaking up anytime soon. But
That's
you know,
a good mojo, it looks
to
like.
go in
Yeah.
that car, it's unbelievable. I think they've got a really good team in there. That's another thing to take into consideration. These passengers, some of these guys, you know, they're swapping out co-pilots because their co-pilots will race during the day. If they get hurt, they've got to go, and you've got to try and find someone else to go in there because they can't race without somebody in there.
How critical is a co-pilot? Chuck, you raced side-by-sides. How critical was your co-pilot in UTV
Hey,
racing?
You know what? One time my co-pilot was this girl named Jessie Strawham. And we won.
We did.
Yeah,
Yes.
so.
And another time, this guy named Rodney Tomlin was
that's
your
right.
co-pilot, and we won.
And we won, didn't we? Yeah, so I think we got a good crew in the booth here.
good
We're
pass.
winning, guys.
Well, a lot of these guys, they have the headsets to talk back and forth to each other. I've rode with Mike Penland, and that's something critical that he has. You know, this has got to be working so you can hear each other, and it's crazy. You can hear it clear as day, talking back and forth, and you really do. You tell them what turn to make. You've got to give them, you know, warnings that are up ahead.
Yeah, Larry Hendershot had that whenever I was riding with him, but ours failed, like, right off the starting line, so we had no communication whatsoever. He's over there screaming at me, and I'm like, I don't know, dude, I'm just hanging on for my life right now. Just go.
Hey, you know, not to change the subject here, but a name we haven't talked about today is Tim Farr.
Well, is Tim? I don't think Tim's out here with us right now.
I don't think
he's part of.
Did he go up with Kyle?
I think so. A lot of those drivers that were in contention for some
Torx championship.
Yeah, they all
Went
took
to
off
Michigan.
and went there. But regardless, it leaves a whole different scenario for us here, and I think it'll really excite things whenever we come back together in a couple of weeks in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and get everybody back there. You got Oakley at this point looking like, you know, he feels like he's ready to win. Cody Miller, who's driving like he's ready to win as well. Those guys are going to be faced with the extra talents that's going to be coming back, and that's going to be exciting. I always like the deeper fields of talent. It always creates better and a lot of good racing. Not that this isn't, because actually this has been pretty exciting.
We've got in the number 3 and 4 place a couple guys that have never been in the top 5, I don't think. Kevin Trantham and Michael Swift. I mean, they're utility ATV racers, so we know that they have the aptitude for this. We've kind of been waiting for them to be up there in the mix and in the running, and man, they're sitting back there learning.
I would have never realized that these guys hadn't been ridden, but you're right. I don't recall really talking about them so much during a side-by-side race.
Michael Swift has been up there in the middle of a race once or twice, and he's gotten some air time, but I don't think we've talked about Kevin Trantham much.
Mechanical issues has always come to Michael, and usually in the middle of the race. So to see them both up there, you know, the same team.
Yeah, and they're teammates of yours, right? Yeah.
It's still the same 5 guys that we've been talking about. Yoakley, Cody Miller, Kevin Trantham, Michael Swift, and Hunter Miller are your top 5. And, and they're all within pretty close lap times here.
Well, let's give it a class-by-class breakdown for you real quick. Chuck, I'll run through all these classes as long as we have internet service working properly. Obviously, the XC1 Pro, we got Yoakley, Cody Miller in second, Kevin Trantham is third, Michael Swift in fourth, Hunter Miller in fifth, Walker Fowler is sixth, John Barnes in seventh. Mouse Pratt, whom I believe is featured, Marcus Pratt is featured on the event T-shirt. But anyway, 8th place position for Mouse Pratt.
They're riding together.
Oh, so Marcus.
In a Yamaha now.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Well, good. So Marcus Pratt and Mouse Pratt are on the event T-shirt. We'll just say it like that. Robert Boynton in 9th, and Casey Boynton rounding out the top 10 in that one.
Take a look at your screen real quick there, Rodney. We got the number 121.
Ooh.
Missing a rear wheel. This is something we talked about earlier of, with the rocks up here.
You clip a tree just
this
right.
That's
what happens.
Yeah. I don't know if he got out in the weeds trying to make a pass or if he just clipped the tree or what he did, but this is UTV Racing 101.
You want me to tell you what Larry would have done? Kept right on going. Stop. We were running speeds of 70+ mile an hour on three wheels.
3 wheels.
Yeah. That's crazy. That brings back memories.
And I believe it, too, because I remember actually finishing a race backwards one time. I had lost a steering tire and couldn't steer except in reverse. So we finished,
There's a lot of these racers, they travel a long way. So there's nothing they would do to not cross that finish line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Looking at the XC2 Pro Sport class now, Jason Watt leading that one in the 411 car. The 28 car of Darren Oakley running in second. Spencer Modlin, the 116, is third. We got Jonathan Powers, the 27 car, in fourth. Brian Riggs in fifth. Lawrence Sampson in sixth. Then we see Chris Wolf, the 69, in the 7th place position. 8th is Richie Nolan. 9th then, the 46 car of Jim Guggenauer. Sean Hayes in 10th place in the 426 car. The next class that we'll take a look at, the XC3, and this is a Pro-Am class, and as we see there, maybe that's what we looked at just a second ago. Let's go to the next one then. Let's go, oh, there it is, it just updated, I'm sorry. We see Colin Truitt, the 117 car, having, a 3-minute and 23-second lead over second place. Eric Polomaki is second, then 6:14 of Jeremy Wallace in third, 4th place 5:13 Donald Harrison, 5th place 7:77 Josh Davis, 6th to 121 right there. He was 6th place Brett Wingfield. We were watching him there on screen. He is in the Pro-Am class, XC3, 7:247 Matt Zeeler, 8th place Luke Shepard, 9th place 149 Scotty Batchery, 10th place Matthew Cassie. A lot of former motocross racers in this one. Matthew Cassie was a former national amateur champion. Scotty Batchery, actually a racer and a team owner for a lot of riders there. Luke Shepard, also a top ATV motocross racer. His wife was a WMX champion 3 years in the ATV motocross world. So a lot of ATV-MX is embedded deep here in the XC3 Pro-Am class as well. As we go to take a look at the lights class next, we got Tanner. Actually, it's Michael Whittakin, the 339 car, Tanner Bowles in the 306, and Trevor Payne in the 61. I'm going to ask you guys, and at the risk of sounding completely ignorant, because that's exactly what I am, but I see a brand name here. It says CFM. What does that stand for?
I'm going to say that Can-Am is that's probably a typo. Where is the F close to an A on the keyboard?
Yeah, no.
No.
That's a really big typo.
I don't know what a CFM is, but anyway.
I might be as ignorant as you.
Well, I was hoping for some really great insight.
Google.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
The Google.
We have Google.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Why don't you Google that while we take a look right now at amateur modified? You might be right, but it's probably a typo. But 2 typos like that? Bill Ross leading in the 45 car of the amateur modified. Timothy Spreitzer, the 911 car, he's in second, 612. Bernard Benamati is third, 4th place Andy Nibel, 5th place is William Bowen, 6th place Wesley Lance, and 7th place is Hunter S. Thompson. You don't know who Hunter S. Thompson is, do you? He's an author.
He's an author.
He's an author. He was a whacked out, crazy author that got way into too deep into his characters and things like that, I guess. in what he was writing, anyway.
All right. Well, it looks like there is a CFMotoUSA.com.
Really? And
yeah.
Now CF Moto, I remember those is that they do side-by-sides?
Well, that's what I Googled, but it's now, of course, I'm having internet difficulty.
Oh, imagine that, right?
But in the meantime, I saw Cody Miller coming across the screen there, blazing a trail behind him.
but I missed William Yoakley. So I'm curious because the finish is right after this section.
Well, there it is. CF Moto does make a Z4 Series Sport side-by-side. Looks like a Polaris. It looks like an 800.
Well, there you go.
Razor.
Razor
That's
S,
what it
yeah.
looks like.
To the GNCC Racing Nation CFM.
Getting some airtime.
Yeah, they are. Surprises like that. Things work out for you, I guess,
Sure.
sometimes, huh? Alrighty, we need to go to the live timing and scoring tab, Rodney.
Yep, it looks like I'm going to make a prediction that this would be, they've got 3 laps complete. I'm going to make a prediction that the white flag will come out on this next lap. We've probably got, we're getting real close to our final lap, I'm going to think. Probably going to be a 5-lap race.
You're probably close to right. Matthew
There it is,
Ashton.
the white flag is out. So I have, and that was for Cody Miller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
it's-
that was Hunter.
No.
I'm going to say that was.
Yeah,
Cody Miller, the one car is in the lead. William
in the
Yoakley
lead.
is in
Yoakley's
second.
in second.
Santham is in third
Yeah.
right now, according to timing and scoring. Wow. Real quick for your Masters 45 plus class, Chris Brockway leading Kurt Zieler. Mike Penland is third. Vern McCourt in fourth. Fifth is Paul Yerkes, Bill Bowen in the number 6 spot. And women's, we got Viwi. That's Veronica Weitzel. And we also have
Where it can
Vicky
be found.
Fowler.
Also, don't forget there's a hunt around for the rocks that have the riders' number plates. Chuck, can you tell us more about that?
About what?
The rocks.
Rocks, man. Talk
Riding
about
the
the
rocks.
rocks.
I was just talking to Chandler Russell, Caleb Russell's wife, that Team Faith, we went around the pits today, and we painted some rocks up that have, well, there's one that looks like Caleb Russell's number plate, another one says Team Faith, and there's about a dozen different painted rocks out there. And if you find one of those, bring it to the Team Faith truck at 6 o'clock. Coming up here pretty soon, bring it to the Team Faith truck and exchange it for a prize. And of course, 6 o'clock is also when we do youth. So you'll be able to play some games and snacks and music and have a good
You
time.
guys
And of
eat
course,
over there?
chips and
Oh,
you know,
well,
chocolate.
Hey, that's good snacks.
That's-
Chocolate.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
chocolate. Oh, I'm there.
Oh yeah, race fuel, race fuel. So,
Oh, look, Kevin Trantham's moved up to the 2nd place position. So that leads us to assume that something happened to William Yoakley.
Yes, it most certainly does.
Oh,
We're trying
no.
trying to get some.
yeah, he hasn't checked in at all.
No.
So he's Yoakley's sitting at 3 laps complete.
And Hunter Miller passed Michael Swift for that 3rd place position because
Okay.
Michael Swift was ahead of him the last
Yeah,
lap
and
as
that's
well.
hard to gauge when you're on the track because there's a time adjustment issue there. So.
All right. Well, William Yoakley has checked in. He's 6th place according to timing and scoring now.
Oh no, so he's limping along.
Yeah, something. So Walker Fowler does have only 3 laps in, and we'll see if he is going to complete another lap. But wow, man, some of these front runners are at the war of attrition.
Man, I would love to see all 5 of those guys up there fighting it the whole race through, but that's a lot to ask for.
Our
in
last
UTV
2
racing,
rounds
that's a lot
are
to ask
going to
for.
be very, very interesting,
Oh, yeah.
especially bring back Kyle Cheney.
Yeah,
And
and
Tim
the
Farr.
tracks are
Tim
going to be
Farr,
a little,
Nothing
yes.
to lose.
Oh,
a little more
nothing.
open with St. Clairsville, the Ironman.
Oh, the Ironman especially. That's
Ironman's
definitely,
just Ironman. I
Yes.
mean, that's just that's everybody's favorite race, and nobody's going to miss that one.
Mm-mm. But definitely, those guys being out today has given Cody Miller, you know, if he comes back through in this number 1 position, that's giving him a nice points advantage.
Yeah, it's Cody and his brother Hunter that are battling for the points lead. There's only 5 points that separate the 2 of them. Hunter actually has the point lead coming into this race, but there's only 5 points separating them, and then you got to go back money to get to Kyle Cheney. So it's kind of it's the battle is between the Miller brothers this year, it looks like.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through the season.
That's the thing. We're halfway through the season. You know, those guys being out has given them that
Yeah,
that advantage.
that much more.
There was that 20-point gap, but now it's going to be even larger.
Even more, and it's going to move. If Yoakley can continue and at least get some points here, if he can limp along.
Now, are there
get
any
him some
drops
points.
for the UTVs?
I don't
Not for the
believe
pro
so.
class.
I would
no.
think so, yeah.
For the other classes, we have 1 drop, but for the pros,
Yeah.
they don't get any.
Interesting.
Very, very, and this is like always, man. This last lap always leaves us hanging to the very end, doesn't it?
It's always a nail biter.
It is.
Especially when you see the setup to this, that what we had there, you know, I mean, the big change, the change in lead, you know, William Yoakley dropping all the way back to 6th place, Cody Miller inching his way up. literally just chipping away. It was 7 seconds behind William Yoakley at the end of the last lap. In theory, you could tell that he was if that lap was any indication, be out front of William, but we did not expect to see William Yoakley all the way back to a 6th place position, now 7th place after time adjustment, as Nebo, North Carolina's Colin Truitt checks in, the leader of the XC3 Pro-Am class, and he is 6th place overall. And right now, he is actually beating the XC2 class riders that haven't checked in yet. We'll see, though. Some of them be checked. Well, no, they've already checked in.
It looks like Walker Fowler still only has those 3 laps, and he's dropped down from around the 7th place to the 12th. So
yeah, I wouldn't expect. I would almost have to venture to guess that maybe Walker is probably called it a day at this particular point. But then again, maybe not. He might limp it all the way around just to see what the car is capable of as well.
There's the number
Cody.
1 of Cody
go.
Miller.
Cody Miller. We see the car coming through, and the smoke clears, and there's Cody. So looks like he's driving for his first win of the season in that
looks
Yamaha.
like that. I'm going to say that's probably, is that his brother there?
Yeah, Hunter Miller is in a Can-Am,
yep.
the number 409. And what's interesting, it just caught my attention, is that Cody was so dominant last year with multiple wins, but he hasn't won any yet this year. Cody Miller, he made the switch to Yamaha, and at the opening round, it was Cole Secoy in a Yamaha that got the win. So Yamaha got their win, but it hasn't been Cody not yet. So,
well, Chuck, getting ready for some podium celebrations with some of these boys here in just a few moments, I know for sure. So we're going to send you on down to the finish line so you can get the emotion, if you will, of these riders.
Is that Trantham? What's Trantham?
There we go. The number 22 of Kevin Trantham. It looks like he's
just riding the duff, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
try to get out of some of that deep stuff and that rough stuff. And
look, there's Walker Fowler struggling to get around that turn there. He's still out there, though. You've got to appreciate that. There's no quit in him, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, he's got the heart of a champion. There's no doubt about that. And you're right, this will be the first win for Cody Miller here. And this will be the first win. Has a seconds and a 4th place position finish. He currently sits only about 5 points out of the lead over Hunter Miller there, his big brother. So this is going to be rather interesting, and they both have a pretty good points lead right now over Kyle Chaney and even William Yoakley, who only had 48 points. And with his miscues and problems here today, Yoakley is not going to score a lot of points again, and that's not going to be boding well, I'm sure, with Yoakley Racing. But, man, the early lead he had in this one, 7th place position, and right now as they headed into the 5th and what I believe is the final lap of racing, as we are about 55 minutes. Wow, that last couple minutes went by pretty quick. 55.5 minutes now into this race. Checker flag will be coming out here in just a couple moments, Jesse.
I'm really excited for this checker flag as well, because I'm really kind of fingers crossed that Hunter Miller will come up and him and Kevin Trantham get into a really good battle for us, because I think it might happen.
Oh, yeah?
Hunter Miller is hungry. Him and Cody.
Oh, I see what you're talking about there. But you look at lap times, though, that's not giving us an indication. It looks like Trantham's actually picked up the pace over the last couple of laps. He turned the fastest lap at a 12:10 that last time. Cody Miller had a 12:21. Hunter Miller a 12:18. But Kevin Trantham is the man on the move, turning the fast laps.
But you also have to look. You never know, Rodney. These guys are hungry. They're out here.
I'm hungry.
Well, you're always hungry. These guys are hungry for that win. Everybody wants to be where Cody Miller's at right now.
They do, and rightfully so, man. I mean, that's the pinnacle of the sport. And, he's had some really good successes in that new Yamaha car this year. There are a lot of questions. It hasn't been tried, tested, and true. How are you going to do it? You just won a national championship. You're switching brands. I'll tell you, I got to say, I think he's done quite well with this car. Taking something that was virtually unknown, building this machine, making it what it is, 2 second place finish.
Making it work.
Yeah, making it work. He hasn't finished out of the top 5 yet. I mean, he's got 2 seconds and a 4th, and he's looking
and it's
right.
Consistency that wins the championship.
And he's looking right straight down the barrel right now of his first win of 2017, and with that should loft him into the lead in points, or at least tie him in points with his brother Hunter, depending on how things finish out there between those two. So this is getting pretty exciting as far as the championship. How cool would it be to see this championship come down between those two brothers?
And to watch them battle it out the rest of the season.
Yes, for sure. I'm pretty excited about waiting to see.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall on their car rides home.
You know, I got to wonder, are they going to be continuing to ride together back and forth?
Test, 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 test.
We got you, Chucky. So right now we are waiting with bated breath to see whether or not Cody Miller is going to be able to bring home the checkers for the first time here in 2017 in his Yamaha as he defends that national #1 plate and it positions himself for the possibility of a second consecutive title here in GNCC UTV racing. Man, I tell you, who would have thought we'd see things start to turn around and start to look like that here of all places, but at Marvin's Mountaintop for this Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com Mountaineer Run GNCC. So we'll be we'll be heading down to the finish line here shortly. Right now we are less than 2 minutes out from a scheduled appearance by our, well, what we expect to be our winner as Cody Miller. 29 seconds behind him as we rolled into this final lap was the 22 car of Kevin Trantham. I know there's been a lot of question as to how much time, if any, that Trantham was able to make up. He was running about an 11-second faster lap. If that's the case, that's not going to be enough through consistency to be able to make that pass, but to be able to make him the catch-up. But late in the race, more obstacles on the racetrack in way of lap traffic and stuff like that, and could slow down Cody Miller. That could tighten things up for Kevin Trantham, and we could see this thing really heat up as we roll into these closing moments. And there is the one car of Cody Miller. Where is Kevin Trantham now in the 22 car?
I do want to bring up, we haven't seen Sean Bogdan at all in the top.
No.
He was on the starting line, so I'm curious to see what happened there as well.
I'm sure there's several of those.
Because he's had a really good season.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's several of those questions that we're going to be asking whenever the checkers finally fly on this one.
And we're getting close.
We are getting very, very close as the #1 car makes its way through these
last few corners here.
And you can see, man, that Cody Miller is not letting up any whatsoever as they charge toward the checkers here for this 4th round of racing complete as we approach the 1 hour mark here at Marvin's Mountaintop and this Rocky Mountain ATVMC Mountaineer Run GNCC. Into the closing turns, and here he comes on his way to putting that Yamaha in the center of the box for himself for the first time in 2017. Say hello to your winner, Cody Miller.
With his brother right behind him.
Look at that. Gunnar Miller was knocking so hard on the door. He was some 39 seconds behind a lap ago. Lap times that time around 12:52 for Cody Miller, so he did slow down. A 12:14 for Hunter Miller, but we got to wonder what happened to Kevin Trantham back there. He was running in tight contention as well.
It looks like here he is.
That's the 22 car making his way around now, and as he checks in,
we're waiting for his teammate, the number 19 of Michael Swift.
Whoa, Kevin Trantham just took the overall win on time adjustments. According to timing and scoring, he turned a 12:16 lap time, 12:16.8, and Kevin Trantham is your winner. Cody Miller will take 2nd place here according to timing and scoring, and we're heading down to the finish line right now to Chuck LeMaster, who's got our winner on standby.
Cody, man, what a race, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, we came off the line a little bit slow. We came out about 4th place behind my brother and a couple other guys, and I knew that we had to put in a hard charge to get out around that dust. I was able to make it into 3rd pretty quickly, but then I had a lot of work to do to get around Hunter. He was flying out there. Him and Kevin Cunningham don't play, and we battled really hard. Finally was able to get him over here in a big field section, man. The Yamaha, I've done a little bit of work. I've worked with GYTRs throughout the break, and this thing's got a lot more power. I was able to capitalize coming up one of those hills hit him around the corner, and we were able to take away a second, and then we knew Yoakley was out front by a little ways. We put in a hard charge, and man, this Yamaha, like I said, get out in the open sections, and it's moving. And we were able to get around Yoakley finally right over here in this open section, and I knew after that he was going to be in my dust. He was going to have a hard time. And so Cody and I just put our heads down and tried to run a clean race after that, and we did. We didn't really run into anything. We were able to keep all 4 tires on it. It's hard to do on a UTV, but the Yamaha is a very reliable machine, and now it's winning races.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your first win there. I'll catch you more on the podium, but congrats.
I don't know if he's aware of it. I don't think that Chuck's even aware of it. I don't know if anyone's aware of it unless you're looking at timing and scoring. But Kevin Trantham is our overall winner. The number 22 car from Hot Springs, North Carolina. Cody Miller actually will score second place. Now, unless timing and scoring is wrong, and I don't think that's the case, you look at elapsed time, 59 minutes, 47 seconds for Kevin Trantham, 1 hour, 12 seconds, almost 13 seconds for Cody Miller. So we're heading back down now to the finish line, and Chuck LeMaster.
Man, Hunter, it looks like you put in a hard battle today. It's, you know, you really charged hard through the pack there. You were right on your brother's tail at the very end. Take me through that.
Yeah, he, you know, at the beginning of the race, he was going faster than I wanted to, that's for sure. He got by us in one of the field sections and pulled a gap pretty quick. You know, I kind of just settled in, and once the track started to break down and get some grooves in it, you know, I just kind of let it come to me, and my main goal was just to finish. You know, this track is so brutal with all the rocks, but there at the end we started picking it up and got right on him at the very end trying to make something happen, but just he got us right at the finish.
Well, if my math is correct, I think that this is going to tie you guys in the points, and so we'll see you battling for blood at the next one.
Absolutely. You know, we got 2 rounds left, and hopefully, you know, I'm not sure where we ended up overall right here, but if we were 1-2, then yeah, we'll be tied going into the last 2 rounds, and it's on.
All right. Well, congratulations, and I'll talk to you more on the podium.
Hey, Brad.
Miller finishing second physically on the racetrack. Cody Miller actually first physically on the racetrack, but like I said, according to the timing and scoring results that we have right here, Kevin Trantham is the overall winner. He was running in third. He moved into that second place position in that final lap. Well, the couple of laps left to go, but man, oh man, again, it looks like Kevin has done it, man. Nearly taken the win this morning in the 4x4 Pro class. I think he finished second this morning overall, if I'm not mistaken. Taking the win here this afternoon. What an amazing feat he has been able to achieve here today at this Marvin's Mountaintop. And who would have known coming into today's race that we would have the types of excitement and the craziness that we have had as far as all the racing is today. It's been really good stuff. Seen some great finishes throughout the entire day, starting at the 8 o'clock race with our youth right on up through today, where Kevin Trantham is your winner. Cody Miller will take second. Hunter Miller will take third. Colin Truitt in fourth. Josh Barnes in fifth place. And 6th through 10th, then Michael Swift in 6th, Mouse Pratt in 7th, Jason Watt in 8th, Darren Oakley in 9th, and Brian Riggs to round out your top 10. And that is a look at those Rocky Mountain ATVNC Mountaineer Run results. Those are unofficial results, obviously, right now, but those will be scored here shortly, and we'll be able to check those out on the interweb, as a lot of folks like to call it there, whenever you go and see how those points are starting to stack up. But I'm thinking right now that Cody and Hunter Miller 1 and 2 in the overall point standings, and today was a great day for them. And a beautiful day that we had here high atop Marvin's Mountaintop. We want to invite everybody to come back and join us tomorrow as we'll be back live at 1 o'clock as Caleb Russell will be going for another big win here in 2017, and of course not only that, but setting and well, tying the record of Scott Summers in the all-time race wins at 46 wins on a motorcycle. Can Caleb Russell do it? Tune in tomorrow 1 o'clock to find out, and that's going to do it. It's going to wrap up things here on a Saturday. On behalf of Chuck LeMaster, also Jesse Strawham, and all of us here at RacerTV.com, I'm Rodney Toplin saying great day, everybody.